You are live.
I thought this was the time where we're like, is this working?
So it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done a live.
I thought this was the time where there I am.
All right, I had to mute the other screen. I had the other screen open.
Yeah, you're going to have to monitor all the comments and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. We should be able to see those over here. I don't think we've ever used StreamYard here for a live stream, have we?
No. So
maybe once when we did the unboxing of the Neo pedals. But yeah, Dana, New Jersey, and Brody just jumped in.
Yeah, Brody just sent a message. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, so, you're gonna get to monitor all the comments because I don't really see them. I don't think.
So basically, you just clicked out of the stream. He does that. He just disappears when we do these things. So basically, until Pat decides to come back, Pat's traveling. He's in Georgia this week, and we missed his recording this week. So we were going to talk about some stuff, and we figured, well, let's just do it on the live stream. Invite everybody in. So Sean's in here. Hey, Sean. Of course, yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Sean, how you like to just randomly pop out of these things.
I can see it now. What happens is the comments thing is dangerously close to the exit broadcast. So I fat fingered it. So now I can see the comments. I'm not going to. Yeah. So
yeah.
I see Dan and
what's up, Brian?
And Brodicus and Sean Zimmerman, Dan in New Jersey. Kind of all caught up, sort of, I think.
Yeah, a couple people joining. So, I mean, it's interesting. Like, I told them that you're down in Georgia and we were going to catch up and just figured we would get on the live stream to do it. And because, why wouldn't you?
Right.
So one of the conversations Pat and I haven't had in a while, I don't think, is this whole live stream thing, because we were doing them for a while, and then the time slot that we were doing became kind of a popular time slot on Monday night, and we recorded on Monday night. So the idea was, well, we'll get together, record, and then the last whatever we'll jump over to the live stream, and it just kind of started rushing us on the recording aspect of what we were doing, and then it's a whole process. So we kind of just were like, okay, we're not going to fight for that time slot.
Right.
But we haven't really come back to the conversation on what to do with this.
No, and one thing we've done outside of our normal Monday night schedule of recording is we've launched the interview series. So the time that we've taken away from our normal night has been us doing interviews with Josh Scott and Rick Matthews and Dave Sestino, a lot of the pedal builders that had helped us out with the That Leslie Sound series.
Yeah. Guitar Hack is just popping in to say hello.
Well, now we've got a professional streamer in with us now. Pressure's on.
Pressure's on, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Brian said he loves the interviews. Yeah, they've been a lot of fun. And there's actually, well, we have one scheduled for Wednesday.
We do.
And then there's another one that we're talking with somebody I'm pretty excited about. And he actually only lives about 45 minutes away from us. So I'm not really sure what that's going to what's going to happen with that. I think it's going to cost us a dinner is what I think it's going to do. But
we could take it out of the budget we don't have.
Right.
So we really launched just to talk about the Patreon program and the GoFundMe campaign. Excuse me.
Speaking of spending money, so last night we were trying to find a dinner option, and there's a restaurant about 30 minutes away that my wife and I really like, and I was thinking about going down there. I noticed on Craigslist somebody was selling something right next to that restaurant, so I was able to turn that into a go pick up dinner and buy a pedal at the same time. And that was this thing right here.
So the dinner cost you money before you even got there.
Right. Well, actually, it was right as I was walking out. Like, I went in, packed it up, and I walked out, and he was waiting in the parking lot. And but great deal on that. And if you follow like the whole Dead and Company thing, that's the same one that John Mayer's using on his board, which is interesting. Although we have some other ones I like maybe better, but
since you talked about it, do you want to play it? You haven't plugged in, don't you? See, I have no guitar, so I can just say I don't want to do anything. But
changing the subject quick, Brian said he spent the whole day in a real studio recording for the first time. Hey man, that's cool. Yeah, it is a whole new world, isn't it? That's a crazy world.
It is. Jason and I have never experienced that together, but Brody and I have experienced that together many times.
Yeah.
I say many times, but frequently in a couple different spots. Been an interesting experience.
Especially
certainly makes you
paying for it.
Yeah, right. Definitely a whole nother level of vulnerability and insecurity that can kick in, that's for sure.
There's not a whole lot to play here, but it is, and it's just the mic on the computer, so it's probably going to sound terrible, but definitely has that.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? There, we just got demonetized.
Yes, Brody, I meant awesome. I just meant the whole thing just about, the track is running and sometimes the meter's running and you're just like, I got to get this right, or you're trying to come up with some parts while you're in the studio, and it's just like, oh, man. At the end of the day, it's fun, but it can be nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah. And when you track, like if you go in with that idea of like we're going to lay down the drums and lay down the bass, both times that the last band I was in did 2 CDs, and the first CD was basically all like kind of live, all of us in a room playing together. And the second one was kind of that same thing, and then some overdubs and tracks on top of that, and had some people come in and like do lay down keyboard parts and stuff. But yeah, that's a different. You find out how well you get along with people too.
Well, diverting into that subject, the very first project that Brody and I did together was at my friend Bill's studio in Virginia, who turned me onto the Tremadillo, which would be a segue later to something else we want to talk about. But a friend of mine played drums on that recording, and the amazing thing is we didn't really play live in a room. He heard a scratch track with an acoustic guitar. That's all he heard, and he had to build it from there. So when you hear it with the rest of the band, it's pretty amazing how the energy was right and the breaks and everything were right, because he was literally listening to a guide vocal and a scratch track on an acoustic guitar.
Right.
We've had other times where we kind of did more of a live feel in a room, at least to run through some of the stuff, but most of the stuff ended up getting tracked individually for sure. But
it's I love that when you can do it all together though. And I mean that's what that band was. I mean it was a bar band. So I mean that's how we played. Jack the Rabbit just joined us.
Hey man. Well, and the bumper for the show came from one of those recordings, right?
Yeah, actually the bumper is from the second CD.
So I need to learn that riff. So no.
I need to learn it too.
Yeah. That should be every pedal we try, we should play that.
I can't remember it. Let's see.
I thought the first time you heard it, you had lifted the track from the show Trading Spaces from TLC. Thought we were going to improve each other's houses.
You did say that.
It did. It just reminded me of that show. But so let me jump back here. So Brian, what were you working on that you were in a quote real studio yesterday?
I can pop up that last comment he put.
Oh, did he?
So he said that the idea he originally had got changed completely, and luckily they got a great bed and.
Okay.
He had a week to work out parts. Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
Hey, it's Joe Harvey.
More metal.
It's as good as I'm going to do today. No guitar.
Oh no. Hey Joe.
There you go. can play it with an envelope filter.
So, what else is going on?
Well, I mean, we could jump into the one thing we were talking about. We're still.
Yeah, maybe these guys can give us the idea we need.
I use this word nicely, but we're still trudging through that Leslie Sound series. I mean, when you're talking about 23 pedals, that's quite a few things to get through. But just for fun, we've decided to do a new series with one of my favorite effects, the tremolo, which that's what the preemptive segue about my friend Bill in the studio. He had a Cesar Diaz tremodillo, and that's where I saw it for the first time. And we used that to record it. It was great. And after that, Brody and I were both able to get tremodillos directly from Cesar Diaz. He was still alive at the time. And so I've always had an affection for tremolo, and that's kind of like the first one I had. So the bar was set super high. So as we've gone along, we've kind of, Jason really loves Leslie. Not that I don't like it, but Jason really loves Leslie. I love tremolo. So we are dipping our toe into the tremolo world and have lined up some pedals already from some people who maybe helped with the first one, first Leslie Sound. And so trying to think of a name, and we kind of
so let's be clear, it's not going to be in depth, right? Let's not try and cover everyone that's kind of on the market right now.
No, totally. I think the scope of the series is what do we already have and which ones can we get for free. Although we already bought one. We bought one, right?
Well, and it's it's targeted. Right. I mean, there's some companies out there that we know that are really making some good stuff. So it's kind of targeted on certain ones, but probably that 10-ish, not 23 pedals, probably more 10-ish. Some inexpensive ones, and then some kind of more feature-laden ones, maybe. But what they call it? So we called the Leslie series that Leslie Sound, right? Mm-hmm. Which got the cool T-shirts out of that, but what do you call a tremolo series?
I don't know. Let's see.
That's where these guys hanging out with us could help out a little bit.
That's right. That's right. Let's see what our friends can come up with. We'll wait. Yeah, no. So we certainly trem elo. We could do a trem emo and paint our fingers black and lament about our parents.
Speed and intensity.
Nice. I get to be speed in that one. You can be intensity. Keeping with my name first and then the beard. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's an interesting name. Let's call that I put my clothes in the dryer. We're talking because tremolo doesn't quite spin like a rotary, but it does kind of go around. We're talking about what we would name a series that we're going to launch about tremolo pedals. But good for you, Jack the Rabbit, for doing domestic chores. I currently also, even though I'm visiting in Georgia, I have a load of laundry in the dryer as well. Was that my sine wave? I've got a parade wave. I'm not sure how to do a sine wave, but yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe some character waving. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Tremolo, speed and intensity.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We kind of we keep talking about Brody because the little riff we played for that Leslie Sound was something I made up, and Brody and I jammed out on that quite often. So we'll have to kind of come up with maybe a little signature riff or pass to do to kind of feature these pedals, and we kind of like a lot of the things we did with that Leslie Sound series, and probably mimic that, and maybe some small tweaks here and there. But
because that's even. At this point, I feel like even with the 10 or I don't even know how many videos are out on that already. I feel like we're finally figured out, this is how we wanted to do it. And I kind of knew that would happen, but I feel like going into that to tremolo that we would have more of because right now I think everything that you're going to see coming from now on has that kind of beginning, that same riff played in stereo, and then playing through you playing your riff then through the pedal in mono. And I think that kind of works well.
Yeah, and then at the end, jamming out, at least with the rotary pedals, jamming out with some kind of drive on it to kind of get that feel. So yeah, see if we can morph it a little bit, but
a little bit of a program.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because a couple of the ones that we've looked into, and one that we have, I think, already coming, and few that are committed, several of them have tap tempo, which I'm looking forward to that. If you've watched some of our other videos, we talked about tremolo and even some of the Leslie speakers, kind of little push-pull there sometimes when you're playing with a band, and sometimes it kind of eventually locks into the tremolo or the Leslie speed. So I'm looking forward to trying one that has an actual tap tempo.
Which, if you get that, like the hard cut on the tremolo,
yeah,
right, like the kind of the fast hard cut that you can lock into the speed of the song. Sometimes that's really cool. Jack asked if we think that most guitarists know the difference between tremolo and vibrato. And I mean, like, kind of, maybe not, just because, like, I don't even think some of the amp builders and people do the right, because isn't like,
right?
Aren't they named incorrectly at times? Like some people call like the tremolo circuit there's amps that call that the vibrato circuit, or vice versa, or whatever.
And maybe that's what'll happen. I mean, a little bit when we talked about the Leslie series, the Univibe sort of kind of came in there because we're like, it's like a cousin or a sister or whatever. So I kind of feel like maybe there'll be some bleed over, or maybe some discussion about vibrato. Maybe we have to actually learn something. Ugh. Yeah. So
there's one pedal that I know that's coming in that I'm really excited about. I don't think this is top secret, right? But there's the one from Jam Pedals.
Oh yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Jam Pedals, they have this like killer line of pedals. They're real high end, real boutique-y. You might have, if you watch that pedal show, they did a run of their Rattler pedal, which is like their Rat circuit for Dan and Mick, and put their pictures on it. But they have a tremolo pedal too that has some really nice features on it. And I've never got to play a Jam pedal, so I'm really excited to see that. So that kind of has me pumped up for the series a little bit. And I know you're really excited to see the one from DLSFX.
Yeah.
So Dave was sending his tremolo over, who he sent one of his Leslie pedals over before too. So there's some really cool ones coming in.
There's one that's not quite like the Neo situation that we had with the micro vents, but there is a major manufacturer that launched one that we have to wait to get one until they ramp up production.
Right. So again, this series is kind of, when it starts, is kind of predicated a little bit on when that pedal is available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jack said the terminology gets fuzzy like coil tap versus coil split. I'm with you.
Right.
Right. And if you explain it, it's going to be wrong to somebody, right?
Right. Exactly.
It's like that guy in the Behringer pedal.
Yeah. Well, it's like until you have Josh Scott tell you what it actually is, it's all going to be fuzzy. Yeah, that's true, Brody. Is it a tremolo arm or a vibrato arm or a whammy bar or a wiggle stick or whatever? Yeah. We'll have to do tremology or tremology.
Brian has a good question: the difference between regular tremolo and harmonic tremolo too, which is something that I think we need to dive into a little bit.
We do, because when in the Terraform, I believe they have both in the Wampler Terraform pedal. I think they have harmonic tremolo and tremolo, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually the Supro. Supro makes a tremolo pedal that's a harmonic trem. I believe it's harmonic trem, but the Supro pedal, I know Mick from that pedal show, not to keep bringing them up, but he has that. He loves that pedal. That's like his favorite tremolo. So that would be a cool one to.
Well, I mentioned Josh Scott, but maybe we can ask Brian Wampler what the difference is.
There you go.
If we were to ever talk to him sometime soon.
There you go. Well, and that would, because he has it in the Terraform.
I'll write that down as one of the questions. Yeah, wiggle stick. That's right. We're trying to keep it PG-13 here.
All right, now they're talking about this harmonic tremolo.
Right. I can't touch anything because I'll accidentally disconnect this. So if you're going to look something up, it's all on you. Last time I reached for my phone, I bowed out of the stream, so I'm going to not do that. When you were doing this, oh, is there? Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally that. Yeah, I mean, it's quite the hustle. It's not like a one-liner.
Well, it's above my pay grade then. If you can't get the tremolo for dummies, I'm out.
Sonically speaking, harmonic tremolo filters the high and low frequencies of the sound wave and then modulates the remaining signal in an opposite pass. So basically, it's pretty unique and less form of modulating sound. The most comparable effect would be the rotary Leslie speaker emulation.
There you go.
Honestly, though, because I plugged into the Supro one at BCR Music. What's his name there?
Jared.
He has one of those, and I plugged into his, and he said it's almost more like a Univibe, which that makes kind of sense there. But I wouldn't want to go on record in saying that.
Right. Well, in the sense that the rotary spins at two different speeds, kind of, sort of, maybe. Or, I don't know. Apparently, we have homework to do.
Yeah.
Well, look at. Well, good for you, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to run, man. Yeah, have a great time.
Are there in this group assembled here, this distinguished group, are there tremolo pedals that you have played? And I know Brody has played the tremodillo. He has a red one, I have a blue one. Maybe or maybe not signed by Cesar Diaz on the inside.
Have you seen the prices on those?
Oh my gosh, they're crazy.
Like lately?
In the 600 plus range, I guess. If you can find it. I mean, Diaz only made like 4 or 5 different kinds of pedals. Even if you look at the Range Master or some of the other things, it's crazy. The Texas Square Face or whatever, they're all nuts.
How's he spell Caesar?
Ceasar. Like the set
isn't there.
Hmm?
I feel like the A isn't there.
It might not be. What do I know? Caesar's like a salad. What do I know about salads?
There we go. So there's one listed on Reverb right now for $570. There's one listed for $520. And then the Texas Ranger is like $635 and $765 here. I can put that up. Share screen. Bam. Let me see if I can get that. Application window.
Yeah, Jack, I like the Leslie sound too. I really like I think I like the fast Leslie sound because it does remind me of a tremolo. Matter of fact, the one we had from Red Witch, it was a pentatrem, and it had like, what was it? The phaser. The phaser had like 6 settings, and I liked the one setting. And Jason came down. Oh no, it was the phaser. You're like, that doesn't even sound like a phaser. That sounds like a tremolo. And the last setting had a tremolo feel to it, so I kept gravitating towards that. But.
Yeah, wasn't it like a tremolo and phaser mix or whatever?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I really like that. When you're like, it doesn't even sound like a phaser.
So there's the Diaz stuff up on Reverb right now. So there's only 4 pedals listed, and they're all 500 plus, and then you get into the 600 or 700 when you get to the Range Master. So
yeah,
and it just seems like it wouldn't be that. Everybody's cloning everything. It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to clone that Tremodillo, but I've never seen. I think I looked it up one time, and there's a couple out there that are supposed to be clones, but I've never seen one that has that speed cut on it that yours has.
Right.
The Joyo that we did an episode on was supposed to be a clone, and it sounded really good, but it doesn't have the speed cut.
Yeah, I mean for that, because that Joyo pedal's like $40, something like that. It sounded good for what it was. Jack the Rabbit, in part, a little bit of the mystique of Cesar Diaz. Cesar Diaz was like an amp tech for Stevie Ray Vaughan. He did some stuff with Clapton and other people. So a little bit of the mystique, because Cesar is no longer with us, and those were handmade at his place in the Poconos in New York. So a little bit that you can't buy them anymore, and who he worked for and the sounds that he would get out of the stuff that he either worked on amps or the pedals he built. So that's my best answer.
Yeah, and I'm like kind of hand built and all that, but I will say this. So Pat plays on the other side of the stage from me, and when he kicks that tremolo on, it's like down here in the room. Like when we've A/B'd it against 3 or 4 tremolo pedals now. Mm-hmm. To me, it's the gold standard, right? But live, like when it kicks on, it's absolutely amazing. It really is. It has such a incredible sound to it. I can't describe it or tell you why, but I mean, it does. I don't think it has a $500 or $600 sound to it, to me.
Right.
But I mean, if I had that kind of money to throw away, it probably would, maybe.
I'd have to go back and look. It keeps flipping between private chat and live chat, so I apologize. You get to see my hand so much, and I can't see the comments anymore. But yeah, I think part of what Cesar did was some of those circuits and ideas he had for reverb and tremolo came from him working on different Fender amps. Because Brody was saying that, make the blackface tremolo in a pedal. It's a little bit what Cesar was doing. Because the tremolo in some of those Fender amps is fantastic, and I see. I played my friend Bill, who I talked about before. He had an AC30 and had a tremolo in it that sounded great. So that's the idea, really, kind of these people taking the tremolos from the amps and being able to put them in a stomp box.
Brody said the Voodoo Lab one's nice too, and that I have the Micro Vibe by them, and it's it's a great vibe pedal. Like, I mean, I've had several other vibe pedals, which could be a whole another deep dive.
That's right.
But I think at some point we'll get out of this whirly stuff, because we had to step away from Leslie, I think, and tremolo is not that far away, but far enough away that it's going to be a different.
Right. Well, I think first of all we had to step away from drive pedals, and we had to step away from love pedals. Then we got to Leslie, then we got to step away from Leslie pedals. Then we get to tremolo, then maybe back to Univibe, then to vibrato.
Right.
Or Jack the Rabbit could just go watch his laundry go around, and that'll be about the same thing. Just put some music on and do this with your head, and you'll be ready for the next series. Or this, for it's a tremolo, whatever you want to do.
Jack said he owns about 3 pedals and seldom uses 2.
So we're talking about pedals with 2 of the guys who own the least amount of pedals. Because Brody's in this one too. So.
But I don't know. Brody seems like he's stepping up his game a little bit. Didn't you tell me? Didn't we see him using the delay pedal or something?
He's using the Love Pedal EPH3, I think it is, and then he bought a Zen Drive, and he's looking at the reverb that has the shimmer in it that we did. I forget what the letters are for it, but
pretty soon talking about power supplies and boards.
That's right.
Look out. That's another piece of gear to carry.
Although if they do what you did and get the Joyo wireless one, it's somewhat painless. But
yeah. 6-string Brian just joined us. Hey, Brian. How's it going? We've been talking about tremolo pedals. If you have a favorite tremolo pedal you want to throw into the chat. Still don't have a name though for the
No.
series on tremolo.
Tremology.
Did you see Josh's video this week, Pat? So if you're just coming in, Pat and I didn't get to record this week. Pat's traveling; he's down in Georgia, and so this was kind of like, let's catch up, talk on a couple things, and we'll just do it in a live stream and open that up. And one of the things we end up talking about every week is the latest JHS pedal, that pedal show, or what do you call it? The JHS show.
Mm-hmm.
So did you catch that this week?
I did, and I'm sitting in the very room where we did the interview with JHS, the spare bedroom at my wife's friend's house. I did. He told us about that when we interviewed him about the tape delays, and he said he took a deep dive into about 11 different ones, and it was a bit on the ridiculous side, but it was great. I mean,
the playing was awesome this week.
Yeah. He was great before, but starting with the Paul Gilbert video for this year, the production value and the stuff that he's putting behind that is crazy.
Even what's his name, Nick on drums, like, because I was listening to it when I was driving home, and the stuff that he was playing on the drums was just killer.
Yeah, so it was great. It made me want to sell my Tremodillo and go buy some tape machine, but probably not.
So I thought I saw somebody new.
Yeah, I did. And I just
Mickey.
Chat again.
Hey Mickey, what's up?
Yeah, I'm not sure what my phone is.
Six String Brian said he's been using the built-in tremolo and the Fender Deluxe amp. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that, really, right?
Right.
That's I need the old Fender amp.
I think I have my grandfather's old Gibson Skylark amp that has tremolo in it. We'll have to bust that out sometime. Maybe that'll be part of the show. It was like an actual tremolo in a amp, and maybe use that one.
Because I'm not thinking I have any amps with tremolo built in.
The two I have are really small. I have the Vox Pathfinder, and then I think it's the GT5. It's a really small Gibson amp from the early '60s. It was my grandfather's.
Is there there's not tremolo in that amp peg, is there?
I don't think so, but I have to check. It's on loan at the moment, but I have to check. Yeah, Brody, that amp's awesome as long as you touch it in the right spot and don't get electrocuted. I can't remember who was playing with it, and they touched it, and they got a little jolt. So Jason will be tweaking that amp while I'm plugged into it.
I'm glad that you let that cat out of the bag before we came in there.
You won't get anywhere near it.
Maybe in the episode that we do where we go, because we have something kind of sort of planned to go to a local tube amp guy, because behind me, which you can't see it, but if you can see that gray, so right behind me is the PV Classic 30 and the Fender Deluxe hot rod that we use when we record. Right behind that Deluxe sticking up is a actual Leslie 16 with a whole bunch of Leslie pedals sitting on top of it. But we want to take that over. So we want to do a show on that too, but we need to take that over and get like a 3-prong plug put on it, and just, it's probably like a 6. I'm pretty sure from what I looked at, it's probably a 60s. In the 70s, early 70s, late 60s, Fender bought them out and put out the what they call it, the Vibratone. It was basically this exact same amp. The Vibratone's the one that Stevie Ray Vaughan used. Leslie 16 was one that was kind of rebranded. So it was Brody that took the hit. According to the look of my hair, I at least took the hit at least once. But yeah, it was not. It was a little worse than putting your tongue on a 9-volt battery, I'm sure. Brian, that's an interesting question, because both of us kind of feel like we should use compressors, and both of us have struggled to use compressors. I'm so sorry. I have a Dynacomp that the only pedal that was ever on my board was a compressor, was a Dynacomp. But because we interviewed Drew Swindle from Swindler Effects, after our interview, I bought a workers comp, which I bought it because the name was clever. So we have a tremolo pedal boxed up, waiting to do an unboxing. That if you watch that interview from Drew Swindle, he likes to take like classic circuits and classic designs, and he doesn't make crazy pedals, but he puts features in there that you kind of wish that they had. Like, tries to take what was there and make it, get the most out of it. So for the workers' comp,
It's kind of based on a Dynacomp, but he's got some tone controls and other things that you can actually manipulate it a little bit more because, the Dynacomp only has like 2 knobs. So kind of interested to try that out. So we have that sitting there. Dan in New Jersey, I've heard amazing things about that Keeley compressor. So I don't know. I
Here's
think,
his workman's comp.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, Drew Swindle was really cool to us. The whole backstory is the one tremolo, oddly enough, that'll probably be on our show. The tremolo pedal, he had done some upgrades to it, and we didn't know that, and made a comment about it. And he reached out and said, "Hey, I've changed the circuit in there, so if you send it back to me, I'll put a new something or other in it." And he did, and then because of that, we got in his golf chorus that he gave it to us at a good price, and then. Based on the interview, I think he's a great guy and run a great company. Thought, let's try one of his compressor pedals. Like I said, he had me at the name. Although Josh Scott has the tidy whitey or whatever with underwear on it, it was a coin toss as to which one. I'm a sucker for blue lights and clever names. But
so 2 things. There's a question from Jack I want to get to, but then also we have this sitting down here. This was my foray into compression, and so that's a Barber Electronics tone press. And I can't even remember what the 2 little switches at the top do. But the middle knob, I don't know if we can see it on there, is a blend knob. And so that brings in your dry signal. So you can blend in your dry signal with it. And that's a really cool pedal. And I think, don't quote me, but I think Barber was one of the first guys to start putting that blend knob in to bring the dry signal into the compressor. And so we're big fans of Barber Electronics. So we were talking about other interviews coming up. That's all.
Right. we may have played our hand on both of them, but
yeah. So we're big fans of them. And then Jack said, "Is that a Gibson bass back there on your rack?" And I'm not sure which rack you're looking at, but no, there's no basses down here. There's if it's the one to the left of me, I'm thinking you're seeing the Vox guitar. There's an old Vox hollow body that was given to me by a friend. That's an absolute I don't think it's not in great shape, but it was a gift. So it had some sentimental value.
Right. I'm kind of looking at Jack the Rabbit's kind of follow-up question about EQs and comps. I don't think right now either one of us use either one. I have a Boss GE7 that's great, but I don't have it on anything. I don't think either one of us are really big into EQs or compressors, but we're trying because we know that like any part of a pro rig, generally those are some of the features. And Brian Wampler used like a GE7 to do a video that made me feel bad about myself. He's like, "Hey, here's the sound that I think sounds really good to your ear. But here's the sound you should make it sound like if you're going to record or be in a mix." And I think the way he manipulated that sound was with a Boss G7. But I've used that for acoustic. But on my electric rig, I don't have right now a compressor or an EQ. I think most of
about that at all.
I only feel bad because I feel like I should have it. Like I feel like I'm just like I don't know.
The whole okay, so the principle behind the compressor, I think. In some cases, what they're meant to do is kind of exactly what we don't want, right? So you're trying to bring all your highs and your lows down, like kind of switch things together, so everything kind of has. And I can see where that's really valuable, and that's why I got the Barber, because in a blues kind of blues rock jam band situation, that wouldn't appeal to me at all. But the playing that we do on Sundays, I thought, okay, well, maybe some of those times where you're doing some of the stuff that we do in that situation, I could see where maybe that would be a value, but I can't get by it.
Well, it's interesting. So 2 comments real quick. Brody mentioned about the Boss CS2 compressor sustainer 3, which he does have that one actually. But then, Jack the Rabbit, you mentioned sustain. That's what sold me on the concept of what Drew Swindle was talking about, of how he designed the workers' comp, because he's like, I don't like a compressor, if I remember correctly. I don't like a compressor to squish the sound. I like the sustain element of a compressor. So with some of the tone controls, the blend controls, and the fact that he liked it more for the sustain than he did for the squishing, I'm like, let's buy one and try it out. So I'm kind of anxious to try it. And pretty much everybody agrees almost universally that it's the first thing in your chain. So even for a guy or guys that don't really use them, I think we'll set it up there and just start from there and not put too many elements in something that we're already not familiar with. So,
right. I keep saying that we ought to have Mike Morrison come over for that one too, though, because he does
chicken picking.
Yeah, he does that Telecaster chicken picking stuff and does use a compressor when he does that. So that is something I can't do.
No, you're not going to get any chicken picking out of either one of us. I can't even really fake it.
No, I can't either.
Yeah, so we are. I mean, we're kind of anxious about that. And by anxious, I mean a little nervous and excited. Kind of like, after interviewing Josh Scott, he told us about the PG-14 the day before it came out. And so someone may have had a birthday. And so for his birthday right after that interview, we bought one and got it in. And I'm telling you, like, I think we were both a little bit uneasy to plug it in and play it because it was just so – when you talk to the creator of it and the guy that he built it for, Paul Gilbert, and then the other guy he referenced in building that pedal is he feels like he trapped Eric Johnson in there with a fuzz face and a Marshall. It was kind of an intimidating pedal to use. There weren't a lot of videos even out about it by the time we shot our video. And so we had the push knob, which is basically to push the load of the circuit. We probably had that a little bit too hot, so it was like super fuzzy. So I'm only saying that to say it's interesting to try to get into stuff that we're not super familiar with, that we want to do it justice. So the compressor, we're going to start with it on the front of the chain and just go for it.
So they're talking about setting it up for sustain, which reminds me years and years ago when I was first learning, I would say still first learning to play, just first going out to the blues jam and just first getting into it. I fell in love with Buddy Guy because he could hit those notes. Here's a video for you. Go check out the tribute to Stevie Ray Vaughan that they did after he died. The night that Stevie Ray Vaughan died, they had like this big concert, right? So after that, all those guys, Clapton and Buddy Guy and B.B. King and Bonnie Raitt and Robert Cray, I'm trying to think who all was there, came back, did another concert. It's a great concert. It's out on DVD if you can still buy DVDs. And there's this section where Buddy Guy does this tune, and he comes out, he kills it. I fell in love with Buddy Guy on that song. And he hits this note and he holds it for like 12 bars or 24 bars or something. And I'm like, I want to be able to do that. So I bought a Tech 21 comp torsion, which is kind of a compressor distortion thing. And this is how I was going to get that sound. And then found out later that the way you get that sound is you turn your amp up.
That's the answer to everything. How did you not know that?
So, I mean, you just turn your amp up, right? Turn your amp up.
Hey, man, my car needs new brakes. Just turn your amp up.
Right.
Hey, man, my wife was yelling at me today. Just turn your amp up.
But and so there's a conversation that I would love to do an episode on or excuse me, a live stream on or something. Who was it that did the video where he was talking to the guys about tube amps and modelers? Is that Music's Win?
Rhett Shaw.
Rhett Shaw. That's who it was. And so we posted that video. I posted that video to that like praise and worship group, and those guys went like kind of. It was really bizarre because if you haven't seen it, Rhett Shaw, he does this video where he talks to like Morgan. Is it Morgan?
We had Friedman in there. Oh my gosh, who all did he have? They were big. Yeah, Mike Soldano and Dave Friedman, and they were.
Is it Tone King or?
They were all high-end boutique amps that he was talking to those builders.
And they were cool. I mean, they were like, there's a place for modelers, there's a thing for modelers, but there's just nothing like having that amp in the room with you, and these guys just like totally tore this thing apart. They totally disagreed, whatever. But I think the point that they were all missing, like if you have an amp on stage with you, like you can't get that buddy guy thing where you hold a note for 24 bars unless you have an amp on stage with you and it's cooking. Even if you put the amp in the back room and mic it, you're still not getting that because there's this interaction. I think that's what they were talking about, that interaction between the pickups and the live sound coming out of your amp, that there's an interaction there. Right. And it would be a great conversation to get into, like, because the modelers, I get it. Helix is good. I get it. They're good. They make good sounds. If I'm standing out in the house, I can't probably tell you whether you're playing through a Helix or a modeler or you're playing through an amp. Yep. I still contend that I can tell you whether I'm playing through a modeler or an amp on stage, or an amp on stage and an amp that's mic'd in the back room. I'll argue that to the end. Like, you can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, a couple comments floated in there. So Mickey Settlemeyer, which I'm not sure we said, hey, if we did, I missed that. Was just talking about, when you squish. Oh, sorry. When you squish squish the signal with the compressor, you lose a little bit of your dynamic and control over your volume. I do like a compressor though, like on a Strat. Like if you're playing of course, I'm kind of a child of the '80s, so a lot of that sound was a squished Strat for some of that stuff. So I like that rhythmic stuff on there. So, and then Brody was talking about turn up your amp, a title for your attenuator series. I think the title for the only attenuator we have is the one that Jason talks about all the time, the poor man's attenuator. Dime the amp, put an overdrive on, and back the volume down off the overdrive.
Right. It was when I go to the Blues Jam, the local Harrisburg Blues Jam, which is pretty famous now for being a great jam. But if they have a Fender Deluxe, like a 20-watt Deluxe reissue, probably. They have two of them. They have a couple other amps on the back line, but I roll everything up. This is what the old blues guys taught me when I was young. You just roll everything up to 10, and then I set a overdrive in front of it, and I kind of pull it back with the overdrive, and then work the volume knob. Right? I'm not playing on 10 on my guitar the whole night. And so Mickey had said dynamics is where this comment right here. I think I can actually just put that up. Dynamics is where the big trade-off is. If you like a lot of control over your volume, a compressor might not work. So for me, I was taught, play with the volume knob, right? If you want more drive, you roll your volume knob up. If you want to clean up, you roll your volume knob back. And so I think that's where I struggle with a compressor. But you attenuate that 20-watt amp. You just roll it all the way up, dime it, and then use the guitar to get everything else in that situation.
One other comment about the live amps and the board that you put that comment on, and one of the comments that came out in Rhett Shull's interview, and I can't remember which guy said it, is he's like, some younger players who love modelers may have never actually played through a tube amp live ever,
or a tube amp live on stage.
Right? Yeah, definitely that, if they've ever plugged into one at all. So that's just something that maybe some of us take for granted, given maybe the age range of the people joined in this conversation. But
there's what Brody said, trying to fit in with the praise and worship players, right? Like, there's this whole, if you're not into that, there's this whole like silent stage thing, like all amps off stage, everything off stage, and playing through in-ears and stuff like that. And a lot of players in that world, and we're not those players, but it is a lot of like dotted eighth note delays and big kind of ambient swells and things like that. And so a live amp on stage, that tone might actually be detrimental, like, in some regards. Like, I could see where, if you're setting all that kind of heavily affected tone up, where it probably isn't all that important. But if you want to grab a note and hold it for 24 bars, you got that's to be right.
Yeah, so I know we keep vacillating between a live amp and a compressor, and Jack the Rabbit. Going back about 12 comments ago for you, yeah, I mean that is a very popular and sometimes needed effect on a bass, just to kind of get that sustain and round it out, and like you said, especially for slapping the bass man. And then I agree with you too on your comment. If you set the attack and release right, you can get good dynamics out of it. So we are, like I said, it's kind of, when I say anxious, both excited and kind of a little bit of trepidation of, trying to use it right and get the most out of it. But I think the workers' comp, I got some pretty high hopes for that one, and looking forward to plugging that one in.
Here's a good comment for you, and I'm not sure. Do I even want to try and pronounce that?
And I keep losing it, so I can't help you. I don't know.
I put it up on the screen. You should be able to at the bottom. Do we prefer Tajima Strat or a Squire? I haven't played enough Squires.
That's a true story. But we did play the Tajima that I liked it. I like the one that we had of Dan Pratt's over at the place. And certainly the TW61, the J-style one, has been a show favorite. So
yeah, I mean, I love that guitar. I mean, I have.
Yeah, I'm
surprised because we bought it to with the intention of selling it, flipping it. Let's buy it. Let's do an episode or two on it, and let's flip it. And I can't get rid of it. It's a great guitar.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played a lot of Squires because I was a bit of a snob. So, but I did when I was 15, just learning to play. It was basically you either bought the real thing or a Japanese copy, which the Japanese copies were pretty good those days. And I had one of those and still have it. It's been modified since. But so I really haven't played a lot of true Squires because I can be a little snobbish that way. But I've heard lots of good things about them. But
that's a Tajima that I have feels better than the Woodstock Jazzmaster one feels better than some of the Squires I remember playing in the past, but I haven't played that modern series, right? The new player series or whatever. Maybe that's not the Squires, but they have some the classic vibe maybe series.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Pizza Face. Mr. Pizza Face is in the house.
I'm going to have to grab a phone charger or I'm not going to be on this conversation much longer. One moment, please. Talk among yourselves. And hopefully I don't lose you when I pull my headphones out because you know how sometimes.
I just pulled you out for a sec. So yeah, I'm not sure. The Tajima guitars are really cool though. I'm not sure which one I'd go with. I think I'd have to try and play a few, and I think that's hard to do sometimes because you get All right, so while we're waiting for Pat, what else do we have here? I missed what we're not just plug and play. Or what are we talking about there, Mickey? Is that still the compressor thing? Because if it is, I agree with you. Because I keep trying and I want to use them, but I think there's times I have a spot and I keep putting it back in, and then I have it for a while, and then I don't know. Do I use any products in it? Beard oil, yeah. Should I admit to that publicly? I need to spend some time trimming, but yeah. I was actually thinking we could get a sponsor and do a giveaway, right? And so if we were going to do that, I would totally go to what's it called? Let me see if I can find it on the website here. Let me find their website. Like these guys, there it is. Put it in the stream. There you go. Honest Amish. Beard oils and beard balms and all that wonderful stuff, man. Their beard oil is good, and then they have a beard balm too that they do. We're in Pennsylvania, so there's a lot of wonder if they really are Amish, because I feel like the Amish, like if you're an Amish brand, you probably shouldn't have a website, but I'm just saying. Yeah. Have I ever been to Brazil? No, I have not. Have you ever been to Brazil, Pat?
How is that?
I don't think you can hear us yet. Give him a second. I think this has gone on longer than we thought it would, too. So we were just like, let's hang out for a little bit. Jack the Rabbit, that's funny. That's what I was thinking. But I mean, maybe they, maybe they're hiring somebody to do the website for them, because, my understanding is you don't have electricity at home if you're Amish, but maybe they have somebody that's doing it for them. They're definitely not, like, being in Pennsylvania area where there's a lot of Amish people. They're definitely not afraid to make money. They make furniture and all that. So I could see that they'd just hire somebody to do that. Yeah, I mean, it's good stuff. I mean, if you have a beard and won't use the wax. I like this beard oil they have. And then there's one of these beard balms that's like a heavy duty beard balm that I like. It doesn't keep it in place, but it's something. You back, Pat?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can. Have you ever been to Brazil?
Have I ever been to Brazil? No.
Okay.
I've been to Colombia. Does that count?
Brad Miller's here. Hey, Brad Miller. Looking over there, we've had some people in and people liking it. There's 8 thumbs up, so yeah. So I mean, worthwhile Saturday afternoon hangout for us. Thanks, guys, for joining in. That's been fun. What is
Tell me
balm?
about signing off. Now that I got a charging cable, can go all day. Now you're going to sign off.
Jack, a balm is, I don't even know precisely. It's a little thicker. You put it on your palm, you rub your hands together, it kind of melts, and you rub it in your beard. It's supposed to hold your. I don't know.
You trying to
it keeps you from getting all itchy, and it gives you some level of management, maybe. But
I thought maybe you're trying to negotiate the Honest Abe's beard balm endorsement to use for a pick holder.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. The beard balm cans, those little tin cans.
Yeah.
And I didn't see the one that I get. I think the one it's like heavy duty, but it's not wax. But the little cans that they come in, once you're done with the cans, like you rinse them out and put a little Velcro on the back, stick it on your pedal board, throw a couple extra picks in. They're great little pick holders and things.
Yeah, we were joking that I should use my favorite hair product, because that's me here, and try to get an endorsement for the empty container to be used for us, put our logo, and then because of this thing that you guys are talking about now, we can have our own little customized pick holders from the companies that we get our manscaping products from.
That's awesome. If you could choose one guitar from the Hall of Fame, what would you choose?
Wow. Well, it was interesting. Within a very short period of time, I was at the Play It Loud exhibit in New York, where they had Jimmy Page's 59 Les Paul, they had Clapton's Blackie, they had Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstein guitar, and then I was with Brody in the Musicians Hall of Fame in Nashville, and they had Steve Lukather's Les Paul Deluxe that he played songs like Hold the Line on. I don't know, man. That's tough. They had a Hendrix guitar at the one. It's hard to say.
I don't think it's in the Hall of Fame, then.
Yeah, I mean, so you're
the one that I'm thinking of, I'm not thinking it's in the Hall of Fame. It should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not thinking it. Pat could probably guess.
Yeah. Does this help?
Wrong finger. Oh, no, that's right finger, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, it's the ring finger.
Yeah, that's what it is. Is this one? Go on.
Your ring finger, not your middle finger.
It's middle finger on Keggy.
Maybe it is middle finger.
It's that because it does that little thing right there. Phil Keggy and Jerry Garcia, same problem.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think just because Jerry's guitar is so wild, right? I mean, there's so much crazy stuff going on with that. I mean, you can get a Les Paul, get a Strat, you can get right,
Yeah.
but there's something about like the cut of Jerry's. Probably it is Tiger, whichever the one with the 3 humbuckers in. One had a single and 2 humbuckers. Maybe that's Tiger. Maybe it's Rosebud that has a 3 humbucker. Whatever. I mean, I'd probably go there.
What's the one I sent you the picture of from the? Was it the Wolf or something? Which one?
Yeah, probably Wolf. Wolf is the one that is like a lighter color. Skeleton Pete just joined us. Hey, Skeleton Pete.
I don't know. Is Brody still in this group? Did he bow out when I left? He got sad and bowed out.
Maybe
he's someone in this group that's actually played a real 59 Les Paul.
Pete says, give him a guitar that Gibson or Paul actually played. I was in Chris Del Porta, who's on the show frequently. I was in his shop today. He had a Zematis hanging in there, like one of the cheaper ones, which is still like $1,000 guitar. But that was really sweet. That's a nice looking guitar. And he had a double cut Les Paul.
No, that's what that was.
Yeah. And I got to play one of the new PRS. Actually played both. There was a PRS hollow body and a PRS hollow body 2 SE guitars today. So the hollow body 1 had like a mahogany top on it, and the hollow body 2 SE has the maple top. And I played both of those, and those are really pretty nice for like $900 to $1,000 for a hollow body PRS. Pretty nice guitars. So our friend he said he apologized for his English, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you he can't speak perfect English from what he's been typing. But I apologize for having no idea, not even being willing to take an attempt at pronouncing your name. Z. Do we play other instruments? I mean, I grew up playing drums.
Yeah, he does play the drums really well, actually.
But other than that, I
can fake it on the bass a little bit.
I can make you believe I can play piano for like 30 seconds.
I know this is the PJ and the Beard Show, but Brody, who's on here, a good friend of mine, you mentioned about making people think that you could play piano for about 30 seconds. I'd known Brody for about 20 years, and we're playing at a rehearsal, and all of a sudden he gets behind the keys and plays like this stuff for like 25 minutes. I'm like, what in the world is happening? So I'm basically, guitar and bass because they're somewhat related. I'm lazy. Even though I wanted to have like a banjo feel for things, so I bought a banjo guitar. So I didn't even buy a real banjo. I have a ukulele. I'm too lazy to learn something that has a different tuning. So that's my.
You didn't play bass though.
I do enjoy playing bass.
I was worried the first time you played bass. I was like, oh man, what are we gonna get? No, man, I can rip it up on bass.
Well, I just follow the advice that there's no money above the 5th fret on the bass, and we get it done.
Brad asked if we're playing this weekend.
One of us is, and that's not me. I'm in Atlanta visiting my wife, so our normal weekly joint church gig together, Jason will be carrying the load by himself this weekend.
That's always so weird, though, because I always think, like, somebody's like, are you gigging? Are you playing this weekend? I never think Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, playing this weekend, no, I'm not playing anywhere Friday night or Saturday.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But I do play every Sunday. I don't know why. That's an old thing.
You may have played 4 different chords, but you played inversions of those chords, and you threw little runs in there. So, anyway, 4 chords is all it takes for anything, right? And the 1 chord's a bonus. You can play 3 chords, be a rock and roller.
So if you haven't seen, if you're watching this and chatting with us and you haven't seen the field, so we haven't done any field trips in a while, and that has to be fixed here shortly. Mm-hmm. But the field trip to Brody's house, if you haven't seen those, you ought to go dig back into the field trip playlist and check out some of Brody's cool guitars that he has.
Yeah, the Beard and I are working on getting down to Summer NAMM, and we will be staying in the Brody domicile when we're down there. So we're still working out that plan. It's set on Brody's end. It's just in a work on our end.
Trying to see if I can find the link to that playlist. And that was nice of Brody let you go in there with a camera and check out all that stuff. I enjoyed that.
No, that was a good week. That's why I was just like, well, I feel like I can't go to Nashville for a week again without my YouTube partner. I can't be down there like stalking John Bollinger on the sidewalk and recording at Brody's house and interviewing my friend Sal, who's a producer, and then crashing NAMM the one year and taking pictures with Tommy Emmanuel and Greg Koch and all those guys. I felt like I was cheating on friends, so we can't do that again.
There's a link to the playlist, which you set Pat loose with a camera and you get 2 hours worth of footage, but
That's right.
It's kind of broken up by his guitar, his electrics, his acoustics, his amps, and then there's check out the collector's choice stuff. That's really cool.
I tried to give you one continuous shot so it was easier to edit. I have not heard of that player, but I certainly, through the magic of YouTube, I'm sure I can. So,
all right. So we've chatted for about an hour, but we didn't get any
names.
Yeah, we're still no closer to naming the tremolo. If anybody thinks of a tremolo, a good name for a mini series on tremolo pedals, shoot that to us over on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, tremology makes it sound like it's too deep of a dive. So
right.
Scratch that one.
Makes it sound like you know something.
Right.
Right. Not sure that we do.
Oh, nice. So I'll let you answer that question that just popped up from.
Yeah, Skeleton Pete. So we have one, and we sat down the other night with actually took 2 nights, but it was all like 15 of the stereo pedals and recorded all of the stereo ones. We put the Tech 21 rotor choir up on the amp, hooked it up stereo, because you take I think that's the one where you do like a TRS plug that splits the signal between the 2 amps and sends it in stereo. So we hooked it up and we started turning knobs, and it would like cut in and cut out. Like it had all like
one amp was on full all the time, and one kept cutting in and cutting out, right? Like it was just
right. Yeah, it was just one amp
cable at first, and then we're like, no, we just did it with 4 other pedals.
So I actually sent a little video of that, what was going on to Tech 21. Started talking to somebody over there, and he said that the stereo pot in ours is broken. So I just Thursday dropped it in the mail to Tech 21. They're going to fix that and send it back. We were able to record it because it worked like up to a point. We'll definitely have to test it out when we get it back and see if it sounds better. Maybe re-record that riff. But yeah, that's on the way. It probably would have been done soon. That's a really nice pedal. I think the drive on that, I think that's one of the ones that we thought the drive was like maybe even more usable than some of the other ones that we looked at. It has a really nice sound to
it. Another great story, I think, because I'm not sure how it's all going to come out at the end, but Tech 21's like, yeah, send it to us and we'll fix it. And that's another pedal that somebody has said, send it to us and we'll fix it, that you're not the original owner of that pedal. I don't know what all the arrangements you worked out with them, but they're going to take a look at it. But.
Yeah, I mean, they're charging me to ship it. Well, I had to pay to ship it there, obviously, and I have to pay to ship it back, I think, but they're going to fix that for free, according to them.
Right. Yeah, Jason, I don't know if you can. There you go. You did it, right? There you go. Yeah. So the whole our show swag is handled sort of outside of us, but it's nepotism. It's Jason's brother, so that could send people to
Yeah,
website.
if you hold on. Say, hold on. Let me see if I can figure out what the discount code is.
Is it the one is?
Give me a second.
Yeah. That's right. For you lucky guys in this chat, he'll give you the secret double handshake for a discount.
All right, let's see if I can figure this out.
I know one, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, we haven't really done a great job into finding things to generate money for this show that we can actually continue to fund it, other than we bought pedals, and then some of those who have sent us pedals at a discount or for free, certainly they all understand that if we ever flip them, that we'll flip them. And so we started to try to sell off some of the Leslie pedals to get back into the tremolo game here. But
so 25% off if they use, I guess it's my dog's name.
Yeah.
So if you use Zelda, it's 25% off any of those T-shirts or sweatshirts, and they have that Leslie's on sweatshirt and stuff. Sorry if I cut you off, Pat.
No. I was just saying we don't do a really great job of funding the show, other than selling pedals that either we bought or given to us a discount. We haven't even sold a lot of those yet. So the idea was to sell T-shirts and hoodies and stuff so that we could upgrade the stools that we sit on, so that we can not get scoliosis or whatever.
Not very good at multitasking.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was watching the premiere of the episode with Rick Matthews and thinking there were so many things going wrong. You can tell that I am terrible at multitasking. I think I cut you off twice in there. I feel bad.
Yeah, well, there were so many technical difficulties that day. Rick was a great sport about it. There was a time change because he's in Seattle. So we thought we said Eastern Standard. He was thinking not Eastern Standard. And then just the technology problems. It was just a train wreck from the beginning. So the fact that Jason even edited it into something usable was pretty magical.
Yeah, Skeleton Pete. Yeah, that Tech 21 does make great stuff. And we didn't really get into except the cabinet emulation and then the other switch. Because it was just like, let's just see if we can get the stereo thing that we wanted for it that night that we were recording it, because we were. It's the price of a new Squire in Brazil. It's about 400.
I'd have to jump on, the forbidden website like Guitar Center.
Which Squire? Squire Strat?
Yeah, I guess it's a Strat, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I think our friend asked us a question a while ago, SG or Les Paul. I would be more of a Les Paul guy myself. Although I have my grandfather's early 60s. It's really a Les Paul's, but it's really like a SG with a single P90. But
so the classic. I did it again.
Yeah, that's okay. I never stopped talking, so you have to jump in at some point.
The Squire Classic Vibe. So I'm looking at like the 50s, the 70s. Here, we can put it up on the.
Let me say Strat Bullet now. You're multi Strat Bullet.
Let me share that. Chrome tab, Squire Strata. This is Sweetwater, so this is a pretty big online retailer in the States. So you're looking at like $399 for the Classic Vibe series, which I've heard great things. The Classic Vibe series is supposed to be really, really good. And then it goes down from there. There's a Strat pack for $199. So I guess if it were me, like if I was guessing without playing, the $199 Strat packs are probably not as good as the Tajima, but when you get up here in the Classic Vibe stuff at $400, but I mean, keep in mind the Classic Vibe at $400 is about $200 more, right?
Yeah, the Tajima was like $189 in the US.
Was that the sale price that he got it for?
No,
that was the full price.
He got it for like $100 on sale during the. So I think $189 is full retail.
So at $189 full retail versus $400, I would expect that you would get a little bit more out of the classic vibe than you would out of the. Here's just like one for $179. Those would probably be pretty similar, maybe.
Wow. So he's saying the classic vibe goes for over $800.
What's that?
He's saying that the classic vibe goes for over $800.
Oh, wow.
All right, see you, Brodicus.
Jack the Rabbit, thanks for ordering a hoodie, man. That's awesome.
Well, if he ordered that Leslie Sound hoodie, he has something I don't even have. Oh, chat keeps kicking me out here. Sorry.
Yeah, Brad Miller. Did we say hi to Brad Miller? Hey, Brad.
Sorry if we didn't. You did. I think I heard you reference his name when I had to go get a phone charger because I'm a loser.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. The classic vibe tellies, the strats, they're all supposed to be really nice. All right, Brody, have a great night. Classic Vibe's going for $800. I'm telling you, man, like, so what if you're in Brazil, what are the Brazilian strats running? Like, they're
the Brazilian made Tajimas, right? Like, not the imports.
Right, because the ones that we're seeing here are the ones that are being made in like Indonesia or something. What are the actual Brazilian made ones running? Because they have to be fantastic. They have to be great.
Right. Yeah, thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. From the bottom of our bottoms. At some point, we'll collect some money on those sales and buy a new stool so we don't kill ourselves every Monday night for 2 or 3 hours.
Strat Bullet. Let's type in Strat Bullet. See what they're going for in the States.
Yeah, it's really interesting as you're looking that up. One of the things that we've certainly learned doing this show and honestly trying to ride the wave of like some of the things that are really popular. So when we looked at the Firefly and the Tajima, Chris Porter, our good friend, we call him in for Ask the Expert. Like, it's just shocking how good some of these guitars are. That are, and the price point is crazy. I mean, even the $1,000 PRS you played today, right? I mean, compared to the core models, that's crazy. But when you're talking Tajima for the Strat for like $189, or the J style for $240, or the Fireflies for $130, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. That must be huge tax in Brazil, man. Is that on import stuff or just on all of it in general? I guess all in. If it's guns, toys, and alcoholic drinks.
They tax all the fun stuff.
Yeah, they don't want you to have any fun down there.
I mean, here in the U.S. and Pennsylvania specifically, we talk about sin taxes, things that are bad. So the tax on alcohol and cigarettes is really high, but taxing toys and musical instruments, that's just wrong.
So it's something like $900.
Wow.
So I wonder if you can get
it here. Did we ever see one? Did VCR have a real one, for lack of a better term?
I don't think Sweetwater carries them, right?
I don't know. Wow, that's I can only imagine what that guitar is like for $900.
No, they don't. What about Reverb? Let's check Reverb.
I was just reading Jack the Rabbit's comments about the Strat that he's modified. He's like, no, it's really not classic anymore. Do you see what he said? Look for a Tajima Stella H2.
Stella H2.
Yeah.
Is it just H2?
Yeah. Tajima Stella H2.
Let's take the H2. Reverb's picky, man. You gotta like.
Yeah, that is the one downside of Reverb. And if we see them at the NAMM show, which they were there last time I was there, we'll have to ask them if they can do a little better job with their search engine. Find out what Amazon uses and get that. You can completely type in the wrong word in Amazon. Are you looking for this? Yes, I am, as a matter of fact.
Looks like the Stellas are going for about 657.
Wow. That would seem like an incredible bargain.
Well, that looks nice.
Do they have the headstock that looks more like the Fano or the? Do they have like a?
You see the headstock?
I'm sorry. Let me get out of the comments. Hold on. Sorry, kids. Grandpa's trying to figure out how to use technology here. I don't see it yet, but I'll find it in a second. Sorry. Or I just might be stuck in comments for the rest of the call.
It looks pretty similar to the Woodstock one that we have, but it's a little. It looks like they've shaved a little bit off of it. Maybe it's a nice looking guitar.
Yeah, I'll have to look at it when I can figure out why. When I want to stay in the chat, it kicks me out. When I want to get out of the chat, I can't. So I'll just stick with what I got.
It has.
I think I've seen one before. And it just reminds me more of like a Fano headstock. If I'm thinking about.
Has the one I'm looking at has two single coils and then like a covered humbucker in the back, and has like this kind of light blue finish on it. It looks sweet. I like it.
Put that on the list.
Always on neck toggle switch. Not really classic. I was just reading Jack's thing that you mentioned.
Yeah, not really classic anymore.
Yeah, somebody was telling us, so because we did those couple episodes on the Tajima guitars, somebody was saying like they're not as popular. It's funny, we get a lot of Brazilian viewers that like are very proud of them, but then I also heard somebody say like, well, they're not as popular here because everybody wants like the Fender stuff. Because so when I was playing in a blues band, they used to hear the comment a lot, like, what is it? Steak on the road and hamburger at home. Like you roll into another town and everybody loves your band, but you come home playing, can't get anybody to come out. Steak on the road. I kind of have that like that picture of that. Like somebody's like, well, they're made here in Brazil, so they must not be good. But here, like everybody I've talked to that's played them loves them.
Right.
JV Squire Strat when it was first offered in the U.S. in 1983. Yeah, because weren't they? I don't know what the JV stands for. Skeleton Pete. Were they Japan guitars when they were first came out?
Probably that year, I would say they were, because my Strat
can't be a prophet in your own country.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's about the same time that I got my Strat. It was Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah, Japanese. Yeah, I've heard good things about those. Mr. Pizza Face asked if he can ask who our sports teams are.
So my parents were from the western part of Pennsylvania, so I've always been Pittsburgh fans. So Steelers, Penguins, Pirates. They don't have a basketball team out there, but back in the day, I liked Julius Erving, Dr. J, so I liked the Philadelphia 76ers. So sort of all Pennsylvania teams for me. And anyone who's playing the Ravens.
My favorite sports teams are all made up of high school kids.
Right.
Not a big sports guy. Too many timeouts. What if bands played like sports teams?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this riff's coming up. It's going to be really hard. Timeout.
Just about to get to the guitar solo. They take a timeout and go backstage for 30 minutes. And then they come back out and they play the first half and they take a timeout.
Everybody's waiting to pay their check, and there's 2 minutes left in the set, and it goes on for 25 minutes.
Brad's unsubscribing because you like the Steelers.
See, that's why we can't talk about these things. But it's through birth, I guess. Like, is it better if it's through birth and it's not a bandwagon thing?
He was indoctrinated.
Although that's true. I was born in '67, and they had all of that success early on, but I was there before the success.
Okay. So, what
Nice.
else? Do we have anything else? I think my wife would probably appreciate me wrapping this up.
I told you, man. I went and got a
I'm sure there's plenty
all
of new stuff
day.
I'm missing.
Hey, real quick, this is a goofy question I'm going to ask to this group. Anybody on this group Walking Dead fans? I'll get you a second, but I'll tell you why. Because I'm in Georgia, what they call it Yollywood, because there was so much filming that happens down here, all the Avengers movies and everything. Well, I was in Sonoy earlier today, and that's where they filmed The Walking Dead. So, and then tonight we're going to a restaurant, Nick and Norman's, and the Norman is Norman Reedus, who plays just I forgot his name. Oh my lord, Daryl. So we're going back to Sonoy tonight. And when I was here over the summer, we took a little Walking Dead tour. So they had like the set of the city of Alexandria is actually there in Sonoy. So and if there are no Walking Dead fans, we can just cut this part out and go back to how much people don't like the Steelers. There you go. Nope. All right, check and check.
Jack did say he was thinking about getting a birth year guitar. That's kind of. My wife tried to do that. She said, "I can't buy any more guitars unless they are from the year somebody in the family was born."
Right.
Which like limits me to 72, 73, 90. Oh, poop. 93, 94, and 2000. 2001.
Yeah.
But now with the grandkids coming, we've added a few newer years. But I do have a 1973 SG. Somebody asked SG or Les Paul earlier, and I didn't comment on that. I don't know. I really like the SG I have, but I don't play it that often. SG or Les Paul PRS double cut.
So we're back to the let me go finish what you're saying, then I want to go back to a couple of the Walking Dead comments. I did have a '67 Gretsch Viking at one point, and it was kind of a cool big hollow body, but it sort of had like a bridge that just wasn't super practical. But I turned that '67 Gretsch Viking into my first PRS, so it wasn't so sad that I did that. I got my 1991 CE24 that with the original HFS pickups is fantastic. And then I bought a 1972 D35 because my wife was born in '72, and that's not why I bought it, but that's what I blame it on. But then when my son was born in 2003, I bought an American-made Fender Strat because Brody, who checked out of this conversation, he's the one that started that madness of buying pink guitars for daughters when they were born the year they were born, and then blue for boys. So his fourth kid, he got a Clapton Strat, not just an American Strat. He got a Clapton Strat. So the joke is he likes that kid the best. So back to Brad Miller's comment. The very first time I saw The Walking Dead, because I heard so much about it, I turned it on, and it was a scene with Rick Michonne and the guy who's the priest. So here is a African-American woman wielding a samurai sword, a cop, and a priest. I thought it was the punchline or the beginning of a bad joke, and after time it kind of grew on me. But I'm not like a ginormous diehard fan, but when you're kind of in the shadow of those things, you kind of go check it out. But
all right. Yeah. Well, that was fun. I mean, that was fun for just a spur of the moment. Let's do YouTube Live instead of having a phone conversation. I think it took a little bit longer than the phone conversation. Probably not much.
Now that some of our conversations haven't gone this long before. For those of you who joined in late, our joke was we're not together this week. We didn't record this week, so we're going to catch up with each other. And why not just catch up with each other with 5 or 10 of our best friends? So it's kind of what happens.
So with that, I think I think it might be time. I have a feeling. My wife. So when I said to you, Pat, about let's do this, let's just jump on Facebook Live and do it. We went out to lunch. We took a former student out to lunch that was really a nice time. But we went out to lunch, and I was like, "Are you coming straight home?" And she was like, "I don't know," which meant, okay, I have the rest of the afternoon while she go shopping, right? And right before we went live, she walked in the doors.
Nice.
Right. So anyway, she'd probably be happy for me to get out of here.
What does she keep making trips downstairs with Hobby Lobby bags? So
So
nice, a little Sasquatch sighting. That's a plus.
all right. So hey, man, we really appreciate everybody that jumped in and hung out with us for a little bit. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, we haven't been doing these for quite a while, but I guess this maybe, Pat, we need to discuss and try and figure out when a good time to do it is. And
well, I think it's when my wife is napping and your wife is shopping. That's the good time to do it.
So tune in every week.
That's right.
Live.
Tune in every afternoon
when the wives are away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think with that.
Yeah, I'm still give us the tagline and said, I'm PJ on behalf of the beard, that guy over there, I can't really even see my screen anymore. Reminding you, no matter what you hear, you're never too much gear. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great night.
See ya.